News Talk 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. We're back here on the Yaffee program. Walker had during What's Trending that a guy and a girl, a couple, tried to get into a fancy restaurant and they had to switch shirts because he was wearing like this sleeveless sweater thing and she was wearing a button-down, long-sleeve horse print shirt. And so you can't, if you're a guy, you have to wear, shirts with sleeves. I will say I can understand why it worked because, the shirt is not really great on the guy, but it's still like his sleeveless sweater thing. Actually, I think it works better on the girl. I don't know if you thought that, Walker.
I did think that, actually.
I was like, that kind of looks like a girl's shirt when I saw it on her. So I was like, maybe it was better they switched anyway.
Yeah, and I think the colors of her shirt work on him.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But we talked about that during What's Trending. Right now, let's end the show like we usually do. We have the Yaffee program rewind. All right, that time of the show where I remind you, if you missed any of it live, you can catch the podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcast. The beginning of the show today, or at our website, WVNN.com, of course. Beginning of the show today, we talked about the fact that El Sayed, the radical Democrat in Michigan, won the Democratic primary for Senate in the state. Now, he barely won. It was very close. Something I was right about and Dale Jackson was wrong about. He thought it would be a blowout. It was not. So just remember that. But President Trump also commented on the socialists gaining steam in the Democrat Party. Go and play a Trump cut one for me, Walker.
What do you think about the traction these candidates who are backed by the DSA and members of the DSA are getting?
Well, I think it's crazy because they're going to ruin our country. They want to, I don't know if they want to. I think either they're very naive or they actually want to ruin the country. No matter where you look, go back 1,000 years with different names, anybody doing what they're doing and what they're espousing, everything turns out to ashes and junk and filth. One thing I said the other day for the first time ever, never thought of it, but you go to these cities that are taken over by the socialists and the communists, they're always filthy dirty, they're disgusting, they're always dirty, and I'm a clean person, and people I know are clean, they like to, and you are, I know you very well, you're very clean, but they're, aside from crime, aside from all of the other problems, no jobs, no anything, no money, they're always filthy, disgusting, dirty. And that's what you'll get.
So I love that, actually. I think he's exactly right on that. And I am torn as well on whether they're naive or just dangerous ideologues. So we talked about that at the beginning of the show. The podcast is up. We had the Alabama bullet points as well, the top stories from around the state. One of the stories I had is that Katie Britt voted to advance Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General. And we also discussed that with Tommy Tuberville. He joined me on the show earlier, so the podcast of that interview will be up. We talked about Todd Blanche. We talked about Dr. Fauci. We talked about the Save America Act. We talked about his gubernatorial campaign and what Doug Jones has been campaigning on and much, much more. So if you missed that interview, we really got a lot in that one interview. So the podcast of that is up. We also did talk about Dr. Fauci and whether he's going to be held in contempt. And Mike Pence saying that he was concerned about Dr. Fauci when it came to the lab leak theory. Play a Mike Pence cut 2 for me, Walker, if you can.
But, what was most troubling to me was I lost count of the number of times in the Situation Room where I asked Dr. Fauci if it might be possible that this came from a lab leak in Wuhan. And he assured me over and over again, even with other virologists at the table taking a different view, that it couldn't have come from a lab.
Do you think he lied to you?
I don't know what the source of it was. I wrote about it in my book about 4 years ago, that I always suspected that it came from a lab. I'm troubled by the fact that we haven't, to this day, held China accountable for a virus that cost the lives of millions of people around the world. And so I was at this.
So there you go. I mean, that he's right on that. So we talked about that earlier. The podcast is up. We also had the very controversial statement that might get me canceled, I guess, when I said that women belong in the WNBA and men belong in the NBA. They haven't cut my mic yet. Apparently that's controversial, but we talked about that whole issue. In fact, play Trump cut 2 on that for me if you can, Walker.
And I'll tell you what, if I were ever, I'd be the greatest women's basketball coach in history. Because I don't like LeBron James. I like Michael Jordan much better. But I'd go up to LeBron James. It doesn't matter. I'd say, LeBron, did you ever have any desire to be a woman? Because what I'd love you to do is star on my team that I'm building up. I will have the greatest team in history. They'll never lose. Nobody will come within 70 points of this team. Now, we have to change that, and we have to make it okay,
you can stop it there. But we talked about that. We talked about Iran. We had What's Trending. And this segment of the program is brought to you by Jay's Appliance Outlet. I love to talk about Jay's Appliance Outlet because you can get some amazing deals. They're located off 72 in Athens. You'll see the sign outside that says up to 60% off new appliances because that's part of the deal. They have scratch and dent sales as well. You can find out more. Dial pound 250, say Jay's Appliance Outlet to give them a call. You'll talk to a real person. Or go to jaysapplianceoutlet.com. Tell them Yaffee was the one that sent you.
The Yaffee Program.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast. These players are battered and exhausted, but you don't hurt like this if you don't care about this team, about this country, about this game.
I think you can feel the intensity.
The goals, the energy, wow, look at us.
Here in the U.S., I have got some news for you. There's so much more to come. My name is Megan Klingberg, and we're just getting started.
The U.S. Soccer Podcast, presented by Henkel. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Mic Drop, hosted by former Navy SEAL Mike Ridland.
What is your take? Was it what you expected? Oh, it was the best thing ever.
It was something I always wanted to do.
If you show me a clear goal, I'm like, okay, I can do that. Master Chief, he's like, you realize there's about 1% chance of you making it through. 1%? That's all I need, Master Chief.
My platoon went home early, and I just went up to my chief, and I was like, I'm not going home.
Turns out I'm staying.
That's when we go to war. Yeah. I was like, okay, I could get used to this.
Mic Drop. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.